The longest-running off-road and action motorsports radio show on the planet is coming to you live with the biggest guest in motorsports. Here is the only man on the planet who can pack this much dirt slinging and tire slaying into 2 hours a week. Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to get your ears blown. Here is Jim Beaver and the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
Welcome to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, our national show. Thanks to all of you for tuning in to episode, I believe, 382, give or take a few shows out at events and whatnot. So approaching that very special episode number 400 later this year, and yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Another milestone in the bank for us. But speaking of milestones, we got a fun show lined up today. Weird weekend, no motorsports events literally across the board going on this past weekend. So because of that, I don't know, we're shaking it up, bringing in some fun guests, and we're going to have some fun today. Chris Leone and I, we are going to kind of recap 2019 so far and share with you our top 5 biggest surprises of the year in lieu of power rankings, since there was nobody to rank because there was no racing going on this past weekend. Not only that, but we've got my good friend, the General, Brian Deegan. He is on the show. We've also got a special Project Action cut we're going to air later this week with about 20 more minutes to this interview, but we'll give you a little taste, about 15 minutes of it. Brian Deegan here in hour number 1. Got Tiffany Stone calling in as well. And then we've got my good friend Michele Abbate, who's gone Trans Am racing. You know, she's part Hoonigan, and she also got an RC car on the market and all kinds of stuff. Michele just shredding it. But looking forward to having Michele Abbate on the show. Probably been about a year and a half since we caught up with her. But yeah, Trans Am racing, man, real deal. Girl can road race, let me tell you. So going to be fun to have her on in hour number 2 as well. So I don't know. It's just it's going to be one of those shows. We're going to be all over the grid today, talking a little bit of everything. And you know, I would definitely love to hear from you guys. Though if you're tuning in, you know, make sure and hit us up at JimBeaver15 on Twitter. I will get you dialed in. We'll get some of those guest suggestions, or not guest suggestions, some questions for our guests thrown at them. If you get them to me on Twitter at JimBeaver15, once again, make sure and hit me up on those. And man, it's going to be a fun show. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm going to do in my opening kind of monologue here after the break. So I don't know. We're shooting from the hip today, right here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself, or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Oh, man, that was a hell of a ride. Go check out mymedic.com for the best first aid kits on the planet and save 15% with discount code Jim Beaver. Again, mymedic.com, discount code Jim Beaver, and save 15%. It's cheaper than a funeral.
MyMedic.com, cheaper than a funeral. Truth. Go check out best first aid kits on the market. Stat over there, MyMedic.com. Everything from something to throw in your purse to basically saving somebody in the middle of nowhere that's on their deathbed out in the forest. That is right. Jim Beaver, that'll get you 15% off at mymedic.com. And rolling into things, and I don't even know what the hell I'm going to talk about in my opening monologue today, because he didn't have a damn thing to talk about. That is right. Nothing other than Game of Thrones. And I'm sure T-Stone and I will get into that because she's still not watching the damn show. But yeah, there was literally no motorsports. It was, I guess if you're an off-road person though, like, this is some of the fun weekends, though, because if you're an off-road person, you go out and you're in your razors, you're on your dirt bikes, you're Moab, Easter Jeep Safari. Hello. Yeah, right. I guess we can't ignore that. If you're a Jeep person, you're out of Moab. It's kind of, and I kind of feel bad. Like, because if you're like an NHRA fan or a NASCAR fan, what do you do on an off weekend? Like, you can't take your car and just go and drive circles around, right? I guess you could go to the Walmart parking lot when it's empty and just drive in circles. But if you're an off-road fan and there's nothing, what do? Well, you go out and you experience off-road, right? So one thing I've always loved about being an off-road person, like, the season never stops, the fun never stops. Like, I have just as much fun out in my Razor on any given weekend, or my pickup or whatever, as I do on race weekends, and I guess that's one thing that's awesome about being a professional off-road driver is, like, at any given time I can get behind the wheel of something and scratch that itch. I don't have to wait until the next track day or the next time I'm at the track or the next I guess, if you're a drag racer or something like that, like the next, I don't know, open to the public day at the drag strip or something like that. Like, I don't know, like I can always go and scratch that itch. I guess, with things like K1 Speed, like the karting center and stuff like that, I guess there's always, the opportunity to, go and have some fun in a go-kart. But I don't know, there's just something about like getting with your friends and going out, like with us, with the RV, go out in the desert in the Razors, campfire, grilling out there, barbecuing, drinking beers, going out and shredding your Razors. Not saying drink beers before you go out in your Razors. I'm saying go on the Razors first and then drink beer later. Just, note to self, right? But yeah, like it's always so much fun, especially on these off weekends like this, right? Because everybody I know, we're all out in the dirt having a ton of fun, and I always wondered how the other half lives, right? If you're a pavement fan or you're a pavement racer, like, I don't know, I know a lot of you guys are, you fans of it. You still have Razors and off-road trucks and stuff like that, but I don't know. It's like, I don't even know where the hell we're going with this whole segment, but yeah, it's just always fun. Off-road people, I got a lot of friends down in Baja this weekend. They're like, Easter? Yeah, we're going to Baja. So, yeah, it's always just it's a different feel, right? And but yeah, that being said, there was absolutely no motorsports whatsoever. I did, with the whole Dakar Rally thing, we announced it last week. Dakar decided it was going to Saudi Arabia. I talked in depth about it last week, and I guess here this week, the 25th, Dakar is supposed to have even more information on this whole Saudi Arabia thing. But the funny thing about this is they have got so much backlash on the internet from the racers, from the fans, literally from everywhere globally. It's like a WTF, right? And I can't say what the beep. I'll beat myself there because we're airing nationally. But like for real, like what were they thinking? Everybody knows it's a cash grab at this point. And Saudi Arabia waved a ton of money. I mean, an epic crap ton of money at Dakar because they do. We've seen it in the past. Things with like WWE Wrestling, who got massive backlash when they went there and left all the female wrestlers out. The first time they went there, they weren't even allowed to bring, the female commentators. Like, what in the world is Dakar thinking with the human rights issues? What are their female riders and drivers going to be able to do? The female people in the industry, like they're not welcome there. They're going to have armed security if they wanted to go. They're going to have full garb. Like, who knows that crazy, that backwards ass country, like, literally, I mean, this is the country that, basically murders people when they disagree with them. Like, what are they thinking? And it's not just me. Like, I thought after I did that segment, I'm like, well, this is my opinion. I'm going to give it to you. And I was like, maybe I'm wrong. Looked, no, I was 100% right. Everybody else in the world feels this way too. And you go and you read like the Dakar Facebook posts, the only people that are going in defense of the Dakar Rally and this decision are the people from Saudi Arabia. I went and I started looking through the comments. They're like, oh, this is going to be greatest Dakar Rally ever in their broken English and everything else. Not saying, whatever, good or bad. I'm just saying, like, I start clicking their profiles, looking, and these people are all from Saudi Arabia. It was like they were paying people to go and post positive comments on their posts. Like, yeah, obviously you're from Saudi Arabia. You're going to be excited about it. But, case in point, it's all males commenting on that thread too. There's no females from Saudi Arabia. Oh, that's right. They're probably not allowed to have internet. So I just find it absolutely dumbfounded that something like the ASO and Dakar would be so stupid as to move this marquee global event to a country like Saudi Arabia with these crazy human rights issues. I mean, the only difference in Saudi Arabia and North Korea is that Saudi Arabia has oil. North Korea, hey, we're moving the Dakar Rally to North Korea, how many people be up in arms? Everybody. We're moving to Saudi Arabia. Well, yeah, we'll kind of turn a blind eye to the human rights issues just because they got oil there, right? They're kind of like, I guess they're a refined version of North Korea. And if you're from Saudi Arabia and you actually listen to this show, sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But like for real, I don't even know where this tangent's going, but it's crazy to me. Like it just, my head is spinning right now because this is just so backwards bananas. Like you have Southern Africa. They want the rally. Obviously, Northern Africa, there's stuff going on there. People were getting shot at. You can't move it back there until things change. Southern Africa, they want the rally. South America, they want the rally. I bet you Mexico would, and we're not talking Baja. I mean, like, parts of Mexico, like Central America, like there was ways, and I don't know the logistics of things. I mean, even for that matter, Russia's so damn big. China's that big. Like you could go, and obviously there's Silkway. You could use portions of those countries, but why Saudi Arabia of all places? What are you thinking, ASO? Like, why would you go and put on? I know the money, but think about your competitors for once. Like, and I'm hoping that competitors, they won't because they can't. We all make a living that are competitors, but it's especially that event. It's like being an IndyCar racer and deciding not to run the Indy 500. Like, you're forced to go, but it's just. Like, to me, it's maddening. It's absolutely maddening, to think about, that like, these racers and the women, it's going to be forced to go to this country who has so many human rights issues. Madness, absolutely madness. Anyways, that was my opening monologue for today. I don't know how the hell we even got on that rant, but tell me I'm wrong. I would love to hear from you at JimBeaver15 on Twitter. Anyways, we're going to take a short break. We come back. Tiffany Stone, she is on the line with me right here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance, rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver here, along with one of my favorite human beings who doesn't watch Game of Thrones and did not watch the episode this weekend. Tiffany Stone, welcome to the show.
Oh, my goodness. That is so awesome. One of my favorite people who doesn't watch Game of Thrones. I know. I just posted a photo on my Instagram today, like, from Mastercraft, where they made, like, a throne out of all these wrenches, and I was going to be like, this is the closest I'll ever get to watching Game of Thrones.
Don't say that. I'm seriously, like, I don't know. It's like one of those, we're going to have to, like, I'm going to force you to, like, we're going to be at Cranor or something this year and binge watch, like, a season of Game of Thrones or something. Like, I don't know. I got to figure this out. We got to get you on point here. Like, this is just unacceptable, T-Stone.
I know. I'll probably do it. Probably this winter when I'm traveling, or if I have a bunch of travels, or if I, like, drive back out west or something, I'll probably start it, and then you'll be the first person that I call, and then it will just be over. And it'll be over, and I'll just be like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah. What the hell? How come it took me so long? Yeah. Just for the record, you're one of my favorite people in general, but you're one of my favorite people who doesn't watch Game of Thrones also. So we'll just clear the air there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I know you've you got some traveling to do this weekend. I know this past weekend. I don't know what you do anything fun for Easter, T-Stone? I know you weren't at Moab, so you were kind of bumming on that.
Yeah, my mom and I we went to eat some dim sum yesterday, so that was fun. Just because everywhere is so super brunchy, and I like brunch, but then it was just different. And the thing is my mom is Buddhist, so it's a little bit different with your mom being Buddhist, and like I was, born and baptized Lutheran and stuff, so it's a little bit of both. So I kind of tried to make a little, nice. My mom and I always compromise. She brought me up very Americanized, so I celebrate all, traditional American things. But it's just different because I'm like, Mom, you don't believe in Christ, so why are we celebrating Easter? So it's always so fun. So that's what I kind of did. And it was my only weekend off, so I did nothing at all. Like literally nothing.
You Netflixed and chilled without Game of Thrones. So
yeah, I watched Doctor Strange. It was really cool. The cinema and like the visuals on it were just insane.
Yeah, I haven't actually. That's on my list of things to watch. I haven't done that one yet. So. Solid. Sounds like solid weekend of absolutely nothing. I know I was laughing. So this weekend, I haven't even told listeners about this yet. I guess we ought to break the news. So one of my favorite things I do every year. It's one of those, like, sometimes you just have to do an event for you. You know what I mean? So the local police department they do a charity home run derby every year at the baseball field. And it's for, people all ages, like ex-players. Like, you get kids that are in college playing all the way to high school players, like people like me who haven't played in like 2 decades but still go to the batting cages and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward. My cousin actually works for the Texas Rangers. And he's actually coming to Parker to be my partner because it's teams in this home run derby, and you got to have 2 people. So I'm like really stoked that I get to do this charity home run derby. All the money raised goes to like buy Christmas presents for needy families and kids at the holidays and stuff like that. But it's just like one of those things, like you in the volleyball tournament. This is like my every year the thing I do where it just whoops my butt, but I absolutely love doing it, you know?
No, I get that, and that's so awesome. Going off that, my volleyball league I played in, we are the champs. So we had playoffs on Thursday. So I was a champ for a few days, and I feel excited about that. So I know what that feels like. You know, it's like you're doing something good, you're doing something for charity, but I'm dying, and it just shows how old I am.
Yeah, right? I'm 38 and going, holy crap. Like, that's the thing. Like, I called my cousin, and, you know, he played college baseball, and now he works legit works for the Texas Rangers, and he takes BP with all the pros all the time and stuff like that, and he runs a spring training facility in Phoenix. And you know, I was like, man, like I'm kind of getting old in these, you know, I was like, I need to recruit somebody like legit, because I've finished second place in this home run derby twice, and I'm like, I can feel myself slipping a little bit, and I'm like, I got to bring in like a ringer or something. So I'm hoping for the best here. We'll see what happens. So
we should try to do something like that, maybe at Crandon or something. Talk to Marty and Tina at Crandon and try, not like a softball thing, but maybe we should do like a tournament charity cornhole thing.
Cornhole,
you know, where
perfect
we could,
for Crandon.
Yeah, like we could just raise money, you know, it'd be like $50 a team or $20 a team or however much we want to do, and just do like a March Madness thing, do like 32 teams or whatever, and just, you know, one and done. If you win, you continue, and just raise money. I think that would be so cool too. Something we should talk about that more.
Yeah, that's definitely. I'm sure Marty'd be game for something like that. That would be. I think it'd be a ton of fun. You think? Here's a question. You think fall Crandon, because it's so damn busy? Do you think it would be better to do like actually that at something like the June Crandon, where it's not quite as crazy?
I don't know. I think fall Crandon. I think that would be, I think it would be something cool, and it'll give us some time to plan it out. But I know they always try to do different things at fall Crandon, because I have, you know, Keegan Kincaid's boys, they always dress up every year. And last year they did superheroes, they've done Santa Claus, they've done Hawaiian themes. So I'm wondering what they're going to do this year for fall Crandon, especially because it's the 50th.
Yeah.
So
everybody I talk to too, like, people that have ever been to Crandon, people who haven't, there's so many people going to be there for the 50th. It's just like, it's crazy. Like the buzz I'm already getting about Crandon, and Midwest Short Course hadn't even started up. We're not even into May yet. We're talking about Labor Day weekend, but literally the buzz is like madness around this event.
No, and I think it would be fun. So maybe we could get into that, or what if we did do? We got to think of something that we could do that is race oriented, maybe too. I was going to say let's race on the course, but I don't think the track would be very happy about certain people going out on the course before the race.
It's all about not getting caught.
I know, especially since I did that last year on the Old 4 track, but we won't talk about that anymore.
Yeah, we'll just conveniently ignore that fact. We've talked about it enough on air that I'm sure Crandon's very aware of our shenanigans by now. But yeah, I'm thinking like, you know who I'm thinking right now, if we're going to do something like this, we got to get Kinsey Flannery involved. I think like this would be something she'd roll with. Like Kinsey'd be like, yes.
No, I think that we should. I know they're probably doing stuff. I've just recently talked to Marty, and I know that they want to do something big for the 50th, but I think that you and I should do something for the 50th too. Like, I know we should probably try to do like a live show, but maybe we should make the whole show in onesies or wear costumes or something like that.
We could do. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be. But we have to make all our guests wear costumes too. So I don't know.
Or we could just bring onesies and make them just change into them for the whole interview. I mean, I've already got theme songs for everybody to come in from now on, so they're going to be pleasantly surprised with their theme song when they all.
That's got to return.
And they have to wear.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's got to return anytime you and I do a live show now. Like, yeah, I feel bad for you because you brought that out. Everybody thought it was funny. So now it's like, that's just the deal. Anytime we're doing a live show, you got to bring the tunes.
I'm definitely. And I'll have them already set up and go. So based on their name, and if I know a little bit about them, if I don't know, that's their theme song for the rest of the time, no matter what happens. And it's it adds a dynamic to it. It's like when they're like a wrestler or a boxer, you know, when they're coming to the ring, and that's their like pump up song.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking we need to do? We can have some fun with this. Do like a live stream one night. I know you've done like the Amsoil After Darks and stuff like that. We need to do a live stream one night from the super secret bar down below, down below the barn, like beers with, or like beers in the Crandon bar with. Like, I don't know. We got to do it like around, I think, beers and like these drivers when, you know, they get kind of relaxed and stuff like that. But I think we do it like a live stream in the super secret bar down there, and just like as people come, just grab them. And because like that, if you've ever hung out in that bar down there, holy crap, like every legend of off-road makes their way through there at any given time. It's crazy.
No, that would be so awesome. We could talk to Amsoil. We could do an Amsoil After Dark, but after 2 a.m. So it would be like Amsoil after the Red Barn.
Yeah, something.
And then you could just talk to everybody. But then we have to be really particular, because we can't have a Shannon Campbell thing, because Shannon literally made me speechless. And now every time we laugh about it, that was probably one of the most talked about things that happened at King of the Hammers, was Shannon Campbell saying, Chrome, PTs.
Like, yeah, I haven't looked at the numbers on that clip, but I bet you people, I think word spread on that, and I think there's probably a lot of people that went and tuned in just to see Shannon. Like, Shannon's a goofball, though. He just is. Like, that's just Shannon. Like, he gets rowdy too. After he gets a few drinks in him, and Shannon is entertaining. That's the good word for Shannon Campbell, entertaining. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, he's like he not only is the king of the hammers, he's the king of the entertainment. That is exactly what he is. But however, if I was ever going to have anybody teach me how to, like, if I was like, hey, I want to race King of the Hammers, I want to do it, you know, I'd have Shannon. Shannon, I think, would be a great, great teacher too. You know, like, he would be hard on you. I mean, his kids are prime examples with Waylon and Bailey. I mean, they're great. They're great drivers. He's probably really hard on them, but he knows how great they could be. And if you're going to take advice, you might as well take advice from somebody who's won King of the Hammers and or podium majority of the times he's raced it. Yeah. So Shannon's probably somebody I would want to learn from.
It's funny because I'm going to do Hammers next year, and I ran into Shannon at the UTV World Championship in the bar, and him and I were having a couple of drinks, and I told him, I said, hey, I'm going to do Hammers next year. He's like, oh, dude, awesome. I said, I need you to teach me how to do rocks. He's like, when do you want to go? Like, it was that easy. He's like, you can come with me anytime you want. He's like, tell me when. You know, but that's Shannon. He's like, you need help? Boom, done. You know, it was one of those. So I was like, yeah, but you're right. Like, he was the first guy I thought of. I'm like, I need help. I need to talk to Shannon.
Well, yeah, no. And like, you know, I just watched it. Was it Sunday? Yeah, Saturday. I was watching the X Games, you know, because they had it for King of the Hammers. And it was cool. And Jason Shearer is just amazing. And for the simple fact that Jason Shearer can go a back-to-back at King of the Hammers, when only, you know, maybe 1/4 of them even finished the Ultra 4 cars, you know, to have 1/4 of them finish and you go back to back, that's another. Jason Shearer is somebody else but I just think Shannon would just be like, all right, let's go, and then party at the end. You know, like that's what I think about it. But one of those two guys is what I would think about. And if you ever need a co-driver, Jim, maybe me, you, and Shannon, we could learn a few things.
Yeah, it would be a ton of fun. I don't know if the wheeling would be more fun or the after party, but guaranteed it would definitely be on point. But yeah, I guess we got to take a short commercial break. It's a crazy show this week, T-Stone. We are stacked, so we got to do a shorter segment today. But always fun catching up, Tiffany, and I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about next week for sure.
For sure.
And we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at MotoShieldPro.com. Do you race or are you a weekend warrior? Have you checked on the date on your helmet recently? Don't get caught off guard by using an outdated helmet. Impact Racing, the leader in motorsport safety, has new SA 2015 helmets to fit your budget. Whether you're looking for a helmet with a full carbon fiber shell to take you to victory at the Indy 500 or just looking for some helmets for a weekend at Glamis, Impact Racing has a helmet for you. Find out more information at ImpactRaceProducts.com or on Facebook at Impact Safety.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'd like to welcome, man, it has been a while. Brian Deegan, welcome to the show, buddy. I know you and I have run into each other a few times. I know I'm calling some of the Lucas races this year. We saw each other at Glen Helen, but it's been a while since I've had you on air, man.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I've been super busy, running around, and cool, you know, getting back into the off-road scene, so we're all good to go.
Yeah, well, and that being said, I know, dude, we got a lot to talk about. Between you and the kids, you guys are bouncing around the country like crazy right now. But all that being said, you know, solid weekend this last Lucas race out there in Phoenix. It's got to feel pretty good to walk away with a W there.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because, you know, I talk to a lot of guys that, you know, that have raced for a long time, you know, like Kevin Harvick, or, you know, say it's, Kyle Busch, or guys that, like, we've talked to lately that have just been racing a long time, and they just say the same thing, like, winning never gets old, you know, like when you win, it's just, I don't know, it's hard to replicate that feeling, you know?
Yeah, well, and I know even like Haley had a really good weekend there in Phoenix, and I think she finished up in fourth, but, you know, she's not full-time in off-road. She's bouncing around doing the stock car stuff and everything else. So, I mean, like, all in all, it was a pretty solid weekend for the Deegan family.
Yeah, for sure. You know, we came out of, last season, we came out, you know, with a few wins and some momentum, and I just knew, like, Haley's so busy with stock cars right now, it was going to be hard to get her, you know, to win a race or on the podium if we didn't, like, get, you know, out testing, which we did. You know, after Glen Helen this year, the first round, I got second, and Haley was there with a fourth, and I said, let's go test. We went and tested at Arizona a week later, you know, just put in a little time, and that's what it takes to win. You know, at the end of the day, I really wanted to see Haley win a race before, you know, NASCAR calls. And I don't know when that day is going to be. You know, I want to keep her in off-road as long as I can because I think that's her advantage. You know, it just keeps her tough. And, you know, we go to the stock car track and, there's a lot different level of like 5-star racing and a lot of different, sponsors and money, a different level. But I think, off-road keeps you core and keeps you tough. And, I feel like that really helped Haley. Like I said, we went and tested. I want to see Haley win Arizona. She came out first lap. Her car, like a breaker popped on the dash, which is like we've done, hundreds of laps and that didn't happen. But it just so happens in the race. And she pushed the breaker back in, started dead last, and she was able to come through the pack, but, just missed the podium. So I guess that's racing. It's hard to like catch all those little things, but it's kind of frustrating for sure.
Yeah. Well, how was it last year? Because I know I was, I got brought on board with Lucas last year for the Midwest stuff, and I know both you and Haley went back to Crandon, and that was a big deal. And I know talking to you back there, like you were pumped to finally be back there, man. And that's like a whole different beast back there at Crandon. But you had some, I know it was your first, I think your first time back there, but you guys had some pretty solid runs back there.
Yeah, we did. Haley was fast. She was fast enough to be on the podium. And then, both of us were headed to the podium in the main event. Last lap, I think we both blew our motors up. So it was just like a random, like kind of weird deal. And I just think Crandon, you run the motors so much harder because it's such a fast track. And it just ended up biting us. And a fun weekend turned into an expensive one real fast. But it's all good.
Yeah, you guys, that being said, I know, are you doing the full Lucas Series this year? And we're going to see you at Crandon. I know Haley's kind of a TBD, right? You just kind of weekend by weekend, right, with a Pro Light?
Yeah, it is with Haley. She's only, right now she's slated to do that race. And it's just hard because sometimes, things will pop up, new sponsors or Toyota will come out and be like, hey, we want to add a few races, and you just have to do it because that's, her focus. And she was planning on doing a few more off-road races, I know. I think one of them got cut short due to some ARCA racing. And then, but we definitely plan on going to Crandon. Like, it's the 50th. I want to go. Haley wants to go. And I think we need some redemption from last year. And we'll be more prepared this year. Yeah. And a little more prepared with our merch too. We showed up. I think we sold out of everything in the first day. So like we're going to come swinging this time.
Yeah. Well, and that being said, you're talking about Haley and you're talking about NASCAR and stuff like that. I mean, you look at your career and you've been, you just talked about merchandising and stuff like that. I mean, you've been really good about, generating sponsorship dollars, bringing them in with the merchandise. And obviously everybody knows about, what you did with Metal Militia, but like, you've been really good, but dude, you start going down the NASCAR path and you and I both know dollars and cents in off-road and FMX and stuff, but dude, we're talking next level, like trying to find funding and stuff like that. I mean, you feel like you guys have really had to step that game up to try and get things funded for NASCAR and get her, slotted into these rides?
Absolutely. I'll be honest, like if it was my son Hayden, let's say he was going, I just don't think NASCAR would really be an option. Like I made a good living. I worked my butt off. I did the clothing deal, but I didn't make NASCAR money. You know what I'm saying? Like I could no way put my daughter through these ranks that you're talking like the money they spend per race is crazy. And, it's like, for me, we went out and we had a strategy. We thought about, okay, Haley cut her teeth in the Lucas Series, and she was so fast there. And I thought, man, there's got to be more for this girl, besides, just staying in this off-road game only. And that's when we put her into the stock car scene. And she struggled at first a little bit. And then we found a diversity program. They ended up picking her for that. We got her seen on the East Coast. We paid for a few stock car practice days, and we just strategically did them in the right places that the right person saw. And then Toyota called and said, hey, would you be interested in doing a test with us? They're looking for females, and so we went out. She did the test, pretty much like broke the track record. And it was like, they were signed her up right there on that spot, and the one thing they kept saying was her car control is crazy. They'd never seen a girl drive like a loose car sliding like that under control every lap. And it just comes from off-road. That's what you do in off-road. And so, the point that, going back to the funding, it's really, we've been fortunate that Haley being a female, it's really opened the doors. And you know, there's one thing to open the door, then there's another thing to keep the doors open.
Yeah.
And I think for us, we just working hard, and we just know it's not going to be easy because everyone wants to take that spot.
Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting though.
Yeah. Well, I know talking about that, I think both of you, you're really diverse. I mean, you've jumped in rallycross, off-road trucks, and things like that. And I know, like, the first time I, got to actually, I'd seen you race on TV and things like that. But it was a couple years ago. You guys went into Minnesota for that Terracross round we had back there. Like, Haley shows up. She'd never raced a side-by-side before, nothing. She goes out, and she literally, I think, like, set the fast lap, like, better than all the guys in Pro Turbo, guys that were champions. Like, everybody's, like, looking at each other like her second lap blew everybody away, and everyone's like, where the hell did that come from, But she's just got that talent, It's like, like you said, there's only so much, marketing wise and things like that it can take you. But with her, man, obviously the girl's got sick control,
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people are seeing. Like, so like what you saw that day, like she's done that multiple times at different tracks. And people have to see it to believe it. It takes like these manufacturers and these sponsors to go, wow, I saw it from my own eyes. Like, and so that's what's happening now. And, for me, you feel like, oh, I'm just a proud parent. I think my kid's fast, at the end of the day, but she goes out there and does things that, people are like, she's not just a fast female. She's one of the fastest up and coming youth drivers coming into the sport. So, she's in this top 5 ranking of like the sought after youth kids coming into the sport, with male or female. So it's pretty cool position for sure.
And that's what cracks me up is like you've got Haley, and then you've got, the Herbst kid, and you've got Zane Smith and Sheldon Creed. Like all these up and coming kind of NASCAR kids all have the off-road background, man. Like, you got to wonder if there's something in the dirt, because it's like you look at the top kids coming up through the NASCAR Next program, dude, they all came from the dirt.
Yeah, exactly. And, I like to look at that, and I like to study, I study things, as far as like when I came from moto into off-road, I never drove 4 wheels before. So I really studied, who's the best and who, studied videos. And, so Haley and I do that. We study and go, why has no girl made it so far in NASCAR as a champion, And why is the best racers right now coming from dirt? And it just comes from the car control. At the end of the day, the tires get hot in NASCAR, the car's greasy. The end of the track, the track gets greasy, and you have to have car control. And, I think that's where Danica, lacked that tool in her toolbox, the dirt foundation. I think if she had some dirt background, it would have been a little different story. But which is cool, that leaves that whole chapter to still be written by a female, whether it's Haley or, another girl that comes from dirt racing. There's a lot of records to be broken right now. And I think it's cool. And I think it's going to take a dirt background to do it.
Yeah. Well, and how about you? I mean, because we're talking a lot about Haley and and the kids and stuff like that. But I know, like you got a lot of gas left in the tank too. I mean, you've obviously we've seen you at short course. I know you had that thing there going with rallycross for a while, and rallycross here in the States is kind of, I don't know where the hell it's at, to be honest with you. But
yeah,
it's one of those. I mean, what's left for you? Because obviously you just won this past race at Lucas. You still got some gas left in the tank, buddy.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like, first of all, I don't ever wanted to be the dad that's like, I'm still chasing my dreams. Like, and my kids get kicked to the curb, I've seen that happen too many times. And I truly could say if I had to retire today, I'd be content with what I've accomplished. Like, I'm good. But right now, I'm still funded to race off-road. I still make money at it. So, which is pretty randomly rare.
Yeah.
And so, like at the end of the day, I look at my bank account and it's green. At the end of the day, I'm not in the red. So I'm like, okay, well, it's working. I have a tire line. I have, the Deegan 38 off-road tires with Mickey Thompson. And I have the parts with Extreme Terrain, Jeep parts, truck parts. Now I got a Tacoma parts coming out, F-150 parts, bumpers, all the stuff, basically the bolt-ons. So for me, I still want to be involved in the game that helps support me and sell my product. And so I feel like I'm always going to race something. That's my dream, is still to be able to like be with my kids, let Haley, chase her dreams, and then go, hey, I'm going to break off and hit Crandon. I may go hit Glen Helen. That in the future one day, I still always want to race. I just want to still be a part of it. because I love off-road. I love the dirt. And I think, selling products and parts, it's kind of mandatory to do that, and I think so. I definitely don't want to walk away from the sport, and I want to win another championship. At the end of the day, when I win, I make good bonuses, and that's what I want to do. That helps support my kids' racing, and at the end, we give back. At the end of the day, I look at it, every dollar I make, I put back into racing. I put back into my kids, so hopefully that one day I can sit back and watch them win, and enjoy it, still enjoy, the being at the races.
Yeah. Is there anything left you'd like to try? Obviously we've talked, obviously on a dirt bike, you've done everything you can possibly do just about, short course truck, you've won all kinds of races. Rallycross, you're a winner there. Is there anything else you'd like to try? Trophy trucks, maybe? Is there anything on the pavement? Is there anything out there you're like, man, that's a bucket list item. I'd like to check that box at some point.
Yeah, I actually had some offers to race road course, which I looked at it, I just didn't have the time with the kids to do that. And then the other thing was I would have really liked to do a season of the European RX rally, the World Rally Cross. That would have been sick because the rally cars are so fun to drive. At the end of the day, though, in America, it just didn't work, and timing isn't right. So for me, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I've kind of done it. I wouldn't mind racing the Mint or doing something in a trophy truck. If the opportunity came up, but I just haven't had opportunity like that arise. So, but yeah, I'd like to check that off the list. That'd be one of the things. It'd be cool to just drive with Haley, go do a desert race with Haley. I think that'd be a cool adventure before she gets too busy and too big,
Yeah, go and tag team it and, split driving halfway through the race or something like that. It'd be fun to see you guys out in a trophy truck, I think it'd be fun, man. And I think you guys would surprise a lot of people with the speed of both of you,
Yeah, you see all the short course guys seem to do pretty good when they go over to desert, but I know it's a different game. I know it's tough, and it's hard to win. There's a lot of good guys, a lot of big money in that game. So that's why I just stayed away from it. It's just kind of almost out of my, it's out of my limits of what I could probably afford to do. So I kind of just stayed away from it, but. Anyone wants to hand me a winning truck ride to race, yeah, I'll do it.
And we'll be back with more after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3 from General Tire. Make your anywhere possible by visiting GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressive styling with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners and for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies, adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Man, you want to talk about an insanely good interview with Brian Deegan, man. Kind of opening up there and talking a little bit about family life and his kids and his career. And, man, you don't get that side of Deegan very often. Kind of rad to hear that. That being said, that interview is about 15, 20 minutes longer than what you guys heard. If you want that, you're going to have to skip over to Project Action on Thursday. Project Action on Podcast One. Catch it on iTunes. You can subscribe to it or just listen at my website or podcast1.com. But that interview is about 30 minutes long with Brian. He really opens up and, about, where he sees the future, his kids, creating content, marketing, sponsorship. it's really, really a good interview, and I think you guys are going to enjoy that, that double-length one. So, that's on Project Action. That'll be this Thursday. Speaking of that, I've got my other show, Down and Dirty Show, Off-Road Edition, that's brought to you by my friends at 4 Wheel Parts. This week on that, I've got Marty Fioca, the guy behind Crandon, Off-Road Hall of Famer, also the Nora Mexican 1000. He's going to be talking about Nora, the future of off-road, where he sees the sport now, kind of the history, just some fun stories. So always fun catching up with Marty. That's going to be on the 4 Wheel Parts Off-Road Edition this week as well. That can be available at downanddirtyshow.com as well as iTunes. So make sure and head over to iTunes and subscribe to that show. Not only that, but we've got a ton of content at Down and Dirty Show dropping each and every week. So I don't know, we're just continuing to punch out the content through all of our channels. Check it all out. And we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty Radio Show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it. So when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere is possible with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back here to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. And, just kicking off hour number 2 here, Brian Deegan, Tiffany Stone, and a big rant on Dakar Rally filled episode, or I guess hour number 1 of the show. Hour number 2, though, man, we got a lot coming up here. We've got basically Chris Leone and I, we're going to kind of take you through the first part of 2019 so far. We're coming off that odd weekend where there was zero motorsports anywhere in the world going on, aside from a couple of odds and ends. So, we are going to... we're going to be rolling, with, I guess, basically the biggest surprise of 2019 so far. Chris Leone and I looking at January 1 through now, what we've learned, who surprised us, who caught our eye, things we weren't expecting. So that's going to fill basically, the first part of this hour. And I think we got some surprise there. And then capping things off today, we've got my good friend Michele Abbate, who, she's a Hoonigan driver. You saw her in that Hoonigan driver search, but she's a road racer. She went up to Dirtfish Rally with me. So it's really kind of fun to catch up with her. She's got a lot going on, man. Just won a free race trailer. She's got a remote control car that's out on the market with HPI now. Girl is... she's a grinder, man. I love human interest stories. Not human interest stories, but I love drivers who, they punch through. They don't have budget. They find the budget. They figure it out. They find a way. And Michele is definitely one of those characters in this industry who, she keeps pushing, man. She finds a way to go racing and realize her racing dreams. No excuses from Michele Abbate. She's always got an idea or something to make things better and, further her career. And you definitely got got to appreciate a driver like that who, just continues to push, and she's damn good behind the wheel. That's the thing. She's got the talent to back it up, and for her to go Trans Am racing, man, like Trans Am was legit. You go there. I mean, we saw Vaughn Gittin Jr. a couple years ago step into a Mustang in Trans Am. Michelle's driving a Camaro, but you step up to Trans Am racing, it's a real deal. I mean, geez, you look at people who've raced Trans Am, in the last couple of years. I mean, guys like Paul Tracy, he's a damn legend, right? And even he's jumped behind the wheel. Boris Said, you want to talk about one of the greatest road racing drivers to ever live, Boris Said, and he goes Trans Am racing. To me, you just look down that roster of people, doing Trans Am the last couple of years, and it's a legit series. So stoked to see Michele in there, and we're going to get the full details here in hour number 2, right here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. You don't want to go anywhere.
I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high-performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself, or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver here, along with my buddy Chris Leone, who handles just pretty much everything that you don't hear me doing. But Chris, welcome to the show. I know it's an interesting week because we always have you on for Power Rankings. I guess 9 times out of 10 we do anyways. But we didn't have any damn racing this past weekend. So you and I decided to switch it up on Power Rankings and do kind of what are, I guess, our top 5 biggest surprises of 2019. I don't know. It's a weird week. Like you and I talk about, we've got these weeks like in June, and there was one a couple of weeks ago where you literally have like every major motorsport series competing. And then Easter weekend, it's like crickets, absolutely nothing.
Yeah, Jim. I mean, it's kind of crazy to have just a total off weekend like this, just dropped right in the middle of the spring. Obviously, we know why, but, now that everybody's kind of gotten rolling and a lot of the championships and a lot of the top drivers have really begun to pick up momentum, it's always interesting to kind of have that hard stop in there. I mean, you look at Supercross, for example, where there's only one off weekend, the entire balance of the schedule, and we just had it. Obviously NHRA has kind of been rolling, and this past weekend was the only off weekend for them. So, with that in mind, yeah, we've had to do something a little bit different for this week's Power Rankings.
Yeah, so for those of you tuning in, obviously our Power Rankings normally are, we take a 7-day snapshot in the world of motorsports. And basically we rank, the performances and that based on a number of factors, and we slot in, a lot of it's just our opinion, who are the top 5 that any given weekend. Now, if somebody's won 3 or 4 straight races, obviously that may come into play over somebody that, had just taken their first victory or something like that when we're determining the rankings. But for the most part, it's a 7-day snapshot plus, we'll just leave an outlier there for people who are just flat slaying it. But this is going to be a little bit different. Since there was no racing, there was literally nothing going on the past 7 days. We decided to take a snapshot basically from January 1st till now, and not necessarily Power Rankings. This is our top 5 biggest surprises. So people, maybe we thought that we're going to be okay, but they're just really overachieving this year, or a surprise that maybe we didn't see coming. So that's kind of what these are going to be. So Chris and I both have kind of 5 in mind. I've got 5. My 5th is kind of a 2. Anyways, we'll get into that. But so top 5 biggest surprises of 2019 so far. Who did you have? Well, first off, before we get into these, Chris, because we got a little bit of time today. What do you think about 2019 in racing? I mean, obviously we've had, IndyCar, off-road. You've been to a lot of events. You've been watching and covering a lot of events. I mean, what do you think about motorsports as a whole this year? I mean, what do you think some of the themes we've seen have been?
I mean, there seems to really have been a lot of individual dominance so far this year. Not to say that championship battles haven't been interesting so far, because they certainly have, but a lot of drivers, riders, whatever series you're following, there has seemed to be so far just about one driver, maybe 2 in every series, who has really gotten off to a ridiculously hot start. And we'll have to see come the fall, come the end of the season. Obviously, that ends a little closer for Supercross than anybody else, but we'll have to see how many of those racers are really going to be able to sustain that through the entirety of the season, and how many of them, might have just had a really hot spring and done some great work in the off season, but might fade as everybody else begins to figure it out.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good way to roll right into these. So, top 5 surprises of 2019 so far, Chris. Who do you have slotting in at number 5 on your list?
Well, Jim, for number 5, I've got Colton Herta, not necessarily because I'm surprised that he's been a competitive rookie and a well-prepared rookie. I mean, what we've seen out of Indy Lights in recent years is that Indy Lights drivers are exceptionally well-prepared for IndyCar. But it's still a surprise anytime you get a driver who sets a record and becomes the youngest winner in IndyCar history. And that's exactly what Colton Herta did at Circuit of the Americas. Only his 3rd IndyCar start, 3rd start with the big leagues, 1st win for Harding Steinbrenner Racing. I mean, they played that race perfectly. They had a little bit of luck and a little bit of help. But regardless, that kind of thing happens in racing, and you have to put yourself in a position to capitalize. That's exactly what he did. So Colton has to make my list, I feel, and he's at my number 5.
And I will mention before I get into my number 5, I actually had Colton Herta on my honorable mention list. So I know we normally do those at the end, but I thought I'd throw it in there. For all the reasons you said, he had a phenomenal preseason test there at Circuit of the Americas. He was, I think, up in May. I can't remember if he was fastest up until maybe the last segment when Rossi maybe clipped him and got the top spot. But an amazing time at Circuit of the Americas, in preseason testing. Obviously, he went in. He was dominant in that race, just in a great run. Team's first victory. Nobody saw that coming this early. I guess I had him on my honorable mention list just because outside of that, I mean, it's not like he's, been in the top 3 or anything. So, but it should be interesting to see how this year shakes up for him. And I think, obviously, you hate saying this, but I think, he's going to win a lot of IndyCar races in his career. I think that's no doubt at this point. But I had him on my honorable mentions list. My number 5, I had 2 guys on my number 5. Both come from the off-road space. I didn't quite know how to rank them because they race in different divisions. One races both short course and desert. But I had, as my number 5, I had both Seth Quintero and Brock Hager on my number 5 spot. Now, Brock has won numerous races in numerous disciplines in off-road racing so far this year. Just an amazingly talented young kid. And then we've got Seth Quintero, he's won both the Parker 250, the Mint 400, and the UTV World Championship. I mean, 2 marquee pinnacle wins that people work their entire career for. Seth's taking him. He's only 16 years old. The kid's rolling with a Red Bull deal. They just, wrapped his whole car. He's a points leader. I don't know. I didn't know who to rank higher, so I just put them both at number 5, but a couple of young guns in off-road, Seth Quintero and Brock Hager there at number 5.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both of them have had some pretty strong starts to the season. I mean, we've seen just how talented both Seth and Brock are. I am actually leaving the continent of North America entirely, heading over to F1 land for my number 4, Charles Leclerc over at Ferrari. You knew he was going to be good because he was stepping into a Ferrari. You knew that he was going to be the driver of the future for that team because he's been in their driver development program for quite a while. Still, to see him basically outracing Sebastian Vettel already in his first year with the team, Leclerc has just been incredibly impressive so far. It was heartbreaking to see him lose that potential first win of his career the way that he did a few weeks ago, but that win's going to come. It's probably going to come sooner rather than later. I would be shocked if he's not standing atop the podium this season, and Ferrari's really got a good one. They've got somebody who has the talent, I think, to be able to take the fight to Lewis Hamilton over at Mercedes.
I completely agreed. I agree so much with you. I didn't have Leclerc at number 4. I had him even higher on my list. So we'll get to him. But I completely agree. He's on my list, which is funny because both of you were thinking out of everybody in Formula One, the same guy. So we're going to have to wait to see where he slots in on my list. But I did have him on my list. Completely agreed. My number 4, I really wanted to put an IndyCar driver on my list. And obviously you had Colton on yours. I put it number 4 because this is biggest surprises. I put IndyCar Crapshoot as my number 4, mainly because it's a surprise because nobody has been dominant so far this year in IndyCar. I mean, obviously Newgarden is a points leader. Rossi had a dominant win at Long Beach, but nobody stepped out this year and said, hey, I'm the guy. I mean, you look at the podiums, and every single week it can be a different 3 on the podium. We've had numerous different winners. The points are a complete toss-up. Going into any given weekend, nobody has any idea what the top 5 is going to look like. You have so many drivers. I mean, you've got 10 drivers, at least 10, 12 drivers who can take a podium. IndyCar, I hate to say this, but I would say IndyCar is the most competitive series in the world right now. And I don't make that statement lightly, but I think the racing is exciting. you have absolutely no idea what's going to happen going into any given weekend, and I think that's what has made it so amazing this year is just the competition level, because no team and no driver stepped out and just said, hey, I'm the guy. And because of that, I had IndyCar Crapshoot at number 4. And that being said, we have to take a short commercial break right here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris RZR. We come back, Chris Leone and I, we will have more of our biggest surprises of 2019.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound of the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at motoshieldpro.com.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Jim Beaver and Chris Leone here. We are dissecting, I guess, the biggest surprises of 2019 so far. So far, we've got 2 of them down. At number 5 on my list, I had Brock Hager and Seth Quintero. Number 5 on Chris's list, he had Colton Herta. Number 4, I had the IndyCar Crapshoot, meaning just basically the crazy racing we've seen in IndyCar so far. And number 4, Chris had Charles Leclerc from Ferrari Formula One, which brings us to our number 3, Chris. Who did you have on number 3 on your biggest surprises so far in 2019?
Well, Jim, my number 3 is Austin Forkner, and, you know, I've been sticking pretty positive on these surprises, and seeing what Forkner has done in the East region of Supercross has been absolutely insane. I mean, it took him all the way to the East-West Showdown to finally not win a main event. And even then, the only 2 riders who beat him were West riders. So, you know, theoretically speaking, he essentially had a perfect points weekend still. You know, Forkner has just been riding absolutely out of his mind all season long. You know, with the series returning to action at MetLife Stadium this weekend out in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and then obviously with the additional East-West Showdown for the season finale in Las Vegas, you know, I think you're going to see, you know, I don't think you're going to see a ride like the one that Forkner has had for most of this season in quite a while. You know, that's got to be an absolutely well-deserved championship. You know, I know that he, like every other rider, has gotten a little banged up over the course of the year, but, you know, it's no matter how the points shake out, no matter what anything looks like, you know, Austin Forkner was the best rider in 250 East this year. And, you know, he's somebody who it'll be interesting to see what he's able to do in the outdoor season. It'll be interesting to see when he moves up to a 450.
Completely agree with Forkner. I've got him on my honorable mention list. I will say I do have a Supercross rider on my top 5. We'll have to see which one, but Forkner, yeah, like you said, just a phenomenal season. But coming in at number 3 on my list, we're moving to the NHRA. And NHRA is a tough one for me, Chris, because there's so many divisions, and it's like how do you pick? You know, there's so many good drivers in each division. It's just tough. But I think there's been one standout, and it's not that he's a no-name that burst onto the scene or anything, but I don't think anybody thought with a competition he would be this dominant and this hot early on, and that's Robert Hight. 3 wins so far for John Force Racing, absolutely destroying the funny car ranks. He's got over 100-point lead so far. And what are we, I think 5 rounds in? Is it 5 rounds, I think, in NHRA? And, yeah, and he's already got 3 victories. I mean, Robert Hight, it's not like he's it's not like nobody knew the name and didn't think he was going to do good this year, but I don't think anybody thought that he would be that absolute dominant. And he's just destroying everybody in funny car. I mean, he's having a Steve Torrance Top Fuel-ish season, but in the funny car ranks. So for those reasons, Robert Hight comes in at number 3 on my list of I guess, biggest surprise of 2019 so far.
Well, Jim, for my number 2, I'm staying on I guess it's 1,000 feet now, not a quarter mile anymore, but I am not in the funny car division. I am actually over in Pro Stock with Bo Butner. The man was supposed to be retired right now, and he has been doing just about exactly the same thing that Robert Hight has been doing. I swear, if retiring in the NHRA is the magic elixir, then I think you're going to see everybody from, the KG veterans like John Force saying they're quitting to, some of the rookies who have only been there for a year or two. I think everybody's going to say that they're going to quit, and they're all going to come back, because if they know that retiring is just, the magic word that is going to win them races the way that Bo Butner did, then yeah, you're gonna see like a mass exodus next April 1st or whatever. Bo Butner coming back to Pro Stock the way that he has, and, just sort of dominating out of the gate. He has been the class of the Pro Stock field, and it's always impressive to see somebody get a little bit of rejuvenation the way that he has, coming back to the sport after that all too brief flirtation with retirement.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that. Yeah, and you don't see that very often, but with retirees, most of the time it's like a Michael Jordan thing where they retire and then they come back. It's like, yeah, you probably should have stayed retired. But Bo Butner definitely is bucking the trend there. But no, legit choice there at number 2. What are we on? Number 2, right? Yes, number 2 on your list. Correct?
Yes,
Am I
sir.
wrong? I'm like, yep. I'm getting confused here, man. I got too many names written down. I'm taking notes as we speak. Coming in at number 2 on my list, you had him ranked earlier on. Super impressed. Charles Leclerc for Ferrari. As Chris said, he's not a rookie. It's his second year in Formula One, but by and large, we've got people that are IndyCar fans and things like that, but nobody's going to argue that Formula One isn't the pinnacle of all motorsport globally. And for a kid to come in like Leclerc, he's sitting 5th in the points. He's got a couple of top 5s. He's got 1 third, and that third should have been a first. It wasn't his fault. Because of that, if it would have been the victory, he wouldn't be sitting 5th in the points. I did the math. I think he would have been sitting 3rd in the points. It just really would have shaken up the championship picture completely. But just the poise and the humbleness that this kid has, like, I'm absolutely impressed, not only with his driving, but the way he handles himself off the track. And I think, like you said, Chris, I think Ferrari's got somebody that can finally take it to Lewis Hamilton. And this kid is a future Formula One world champion, hands down, no doubt about it. It's just a matter of when. But I think we all knew he was going to be good, but I don't think we knew he was going to be that good. And for that reasons, I've got Leclerc there at number 2 on my list.
Absolutely. And, Jim, I think there's only one clear-cut number 1 for this season in terms of biggest surprises so far. I will be shocked if you don't also have Cooper Webb at the very top of your list.
We are both we're both on the same page with Cooper Webb. I was wondering. I was like, either Chris completely ignored Cooper and he's just off the grid and you forgot about him, or we both got him at number 1.
Oh, there was absolutely no way that I was going to forget about Cooper Webb at number 1. I mean, 2 years in the Yamaha, unfortunately, just wasn't able to do a lot with it, and then gets over to the KTM, riding alongside Marvin Musquin. And, we knew that the KTMs were going to be good. We knew that Musquin and Eli Tomac over at Kawasaki were going to be 2 of the top championship contenders. And that only got, that feeling only got stronger when Jason Anderson got hurt. But Cooper Webb absolutely exploded onto the scene this year. He took that first victory in the Triple Crown race, the second race from Anaheim, and just really hasn't looked back. It's proof that sometimes a change of scenery can work wonders, really, for, especially a young racer in any sport, two wheels or four. Cooper Webb got that change of scenery. You know, you knew he was kind of going to get kicked to the curb at Yamaha because Justin Barcia had a pretty good end of last season, and obviously Aaron Plessinger was dominating in 250s. But, you know, Yamaha's loss was KTM's gain here, and while Yamaha, I think, is well suited for the future with Barcia and Plessinger, I mean, Cooper Webb just really made the most of a second chance, and, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see him up there for years to come. I think that having one, you know, season like this, I think it's going to be hard to replicate the kind of season that he's had, but then again, everybody knows his name now. He's got the target on his back now. It's hard to be a surprise when you've put together a season like this, you know, unless you just run mid-pack for about 11 years and then have another one. But I don't really expect that. I expect to see a lot more wins and a lot more podiums from Cooper Webb in the future, both indoor and outdoor.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, it wasn't like Cooper Webb was a no-name. And he was one of those guys you had pegged, you know, Cooper will probably take a victory this year. You know, he's good enough. He'll probably take a win. But I think going into the season, we were all thinking Anderson, Marvin, and Tomac. And 6 wins later, Cooper Webb's the only guy we're talking about, you know, and Tomac, he's got hot. He's had a couple of victories, you know what I mean, this last stretch of the season. But by and large, Cooper Webb, his dominance has been crazy. So, you know, I think we both agree. Like, we knew he was good. We knew he was capable of wins, but I don't think anybody foresaw him having the season that he is having in 2019. And, you know, for that reason, Cooper Webb, I think unanimously both of us had him. And so you guys know, Chris and I do not confer. We have no idea who's on each other's lists until we go live on the air. Both of us had him at number 1, which, yeah. You have any honorable mentions, Chris?
I mean, you know, a lot of the names that you left or that you put on your list that I left on my list, you know, I would say that definitely with Seth and Brock, you know, I think you're onto something there. I mean, I didn't put those guys necessarily on there because I don't know, maybe having watched Brock and having seen how well he's driven at multiple levels, I don't know, maybe I didn't see it as much of a surprise that he was going to go out and dominate in 6,100 right away.
Yep, completely agree. And with that, we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself, or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
Looking to have some fun on 4 wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'd like to welcome my good friend Michele Abbate to the line, who, I don't know, Michele, we got so damn much to catch up on here because, I don't even want to say that you had an off season. You're just rolling right now, and I know you got a race this weekend.
Yeah, man, it's been nonstop since, I don't know, probably since Christmas, I guess. And we're already in, April? So, it's been really awesome this year. I've done a lot of work, and, I'm making my second start in the Trans Am season this weekend and another race next weekend. So it's not stopping.
Yeah, well, in this whole Trans Am thing, I mean, I'm stoked for you. I know this is something you wanted to do for some time. I mean, you know, that's this is a legitimate, big step. I know, you sold your old race car, and I know you were quite fond of that race car. This is an all-in type of thing. How did this whole deal kind of get put together to go Trans Am racing? I guess kind of take us through, the whole process here of, how you actually are where you're at in Trans Am this year.
Well, it all actually started as like a dream that I would just talk about. As you know, I mean, it's been 5 or 6 years of just always saying it. I want to do it. But I always pictured it being, a rented ride where I'd just pay to ride, use someone's car, rent a car. And over Christmas, I put my car up for sale in like November, I think, because I knew we had won everything we could win in it. And I knew it was time to move up, and I knew I couldn't get another car unless I sold my car. But then I found this car for sale, and I just could not pass it up. So my husband and I, we were saving to have a down payment on a new house, and we kind of talked about it, and we decided to just go ahead and use our savings to buy a TA2 car. So in addition to that, I had to pull some funds out of my savings, but lo and behold, I ended up buying Napoleon Motorsports old TA2 car, and I had 2 race cars at one point, and then I recently sold the FRS, which was bittersweet, but it needed to happen because I don't have the total funding to pursue Trans Am without selling that car, so it's very good that it's sold now. But made my first start, that was 2 weekends ago, and had a little bit of a rough start, but still got to see the finish, so it's been good.
Well, and I think that's one thing I've always liked, and you and I spent some time up together at Dirtfish, and, we've talked off and on here and there, and I love it because I always get texts from you to be like, random, we won't talk for a while, and then it'll be like a text, and you'll have some kind of promotion, something going on, and I love it because, there's so many people in this industry, it's like, oh, I don't have money, I can't make it, this, and it's always like down, and they're always down, and there's always an excuse, and I look at you, and it's like, you find a way, like you grind it out, like you're going to find a damn way to go racing. And, and it's just like house now, we can put that on the back burner for another year or two. We're going racing, but it was like, and obviously now you sold the other car, you'll be able to pay yourself back a little bit and whatever. But it's like everybody has excuses. Michelle, it's like, no, we don't have excuses. We're going to find a way,
Yeah, man, that's how I've always been. It's where there's a will, there's a way. And I mean, I used to get sponsors for $40, $50 so I could go run autocross. So I mean, I know all those people that say like, I can't afford it and this and that, but really there's other ways to get support. And I always tell everybody, maybe I got something for free, but really it wasn't free because I worked really hard to promote that product, or I did something in exchange to get it. And like you had said, I think it was January, I was entered into a contest to win a trailer, and I know I bugged you to vote for me along with pretty much everybody in my phone book. I ended up winning it, which was pretty rad. I'm super stoked on that. To trailers by Intech Trailers.
Yeah, well, I saw that, and I'm like, damn, like that's rad. I every time you'd send one and remind me, I was voting, and it's like I'm sure everybody else was, because I'm like, man, I want Michelle to win this damn thing. But it's like I look at that and I'm like, that's like a $25,000-$30,000 trailer. I'm like, man, that's really gonna help your program, and and that's money. Like I call it found money. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we found the budget for a trailer now. We didn't have to pay for it. Like that's like sometimes those are the best gifts, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was such a crazy experience. It was really hard because every round they'd reset. So like I would text people like, hey, go vote for me. And they'd be like, oh yeah, no, I already did. And I'm like, no, like it cleared, like you have to vote again. And I mean, it was 5 rounds of that. And thankfully I only had a couple people that were like, okay, stop asking me to vote for you, But no, dude, it was super sick. Should be ready in the next week. So I'll be picking that thing up and rolling like a baller, man.
Yeah, I know you were posting some pictures of it, like the whole build and everything. It's kind of crazy to see one of those coming together, like all the metal, like the carcass and everything. Like, I don't know, it's kind of a rad process to watch, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And Intech, that's something they like offer to their customers, which I had no idea, but they give you like a build number and you can literally watch your trailer get built online, and they give you blueprints and they post pictures and updates. And so, of course, I'm going to share that with everybody because really it's a lot of people's trailer. I just get to use it.
Yeah. Well, you said something, a minute or two back, and you were talking about going autocrossing and finding like $50, $60 sponsors. And I know, like, one thing I've always liked is you and I have kind of approached this thing, the same. Like, we're not independently wealthy. We go racing. We got to find the money, whether it's out of our pocket or we get partners to help us pay for it. But you were talking about $50 and $60 sponsorships. And I started laughing because I'm the same way. Like, I never say no. Somebody be like, oh, we got $100. All right, we'll find a way. Like, what do you want to sponsor? We'll find something for $100. But I think a lot of people, they get into racing, they see that big dollar amount to go racing, and they immediately go, oh, I got to get, they look for that one golden goose that's going to, you know, write them this massive check, you know, and like you and I both know those golden gooses are pretty damn hard to find. So it's like, you know, but you can find a lot of people who might have $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, you know, so, you know, you bring on those people on board, you know what I mean? And pretty soon you've got enough money, you know, because you got people spending $500, $400, $700, you know, it's enough to go racing. But I think a lot of people don't look at that, you know, on a smaller level like we do, where you bring a lot of those in and that money collectively allow us to go racing. I think a lot of people just look at that big number and they're like, I just need one I need M&M's to write me $100,000 check, you know, and I'm like, that's not going to happen, but you might be able to get $100,000 checks.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm still looking for that golden goose too. And I mean, in the pro series, at least you can offer some exposure and stuff. But yeah, it's, you know, my sponsorship deck is just like, it's like kind of a suggestion sometimes. Yeah. It's like, this is what we'd like to have, but if you're able to help us at all, you know, we're willing to work with you. And, you know, I've just learned over the years, it's just better to be super transparent and just try to work with people, because obviously if they're talking to you, they probably want to help you. Otherwise they wouldn't give you the time of day. Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, it's a bummer because you see these other cars out there with these massive logos and you're like, dang, what are they giving that, you know, that person? Like, what is that deal? You know, it's like, I mean, right now my car's got a giant GUR Racing on the side of it, and that's because I'm funding this thing a lot out of my pocket. And I'd be happy to take that GUR Racing sticker off and throw someone else on there. So if anybody's interested in having a Trans Am car over the weekend, any weekend, I will, I'd be happy to talk to you. But yeah, I mean, it's a matter of making it happen, proving yourself. And unfortunately, we didn't finish on the lead lap of the last race because I had a blowout in my right rear at 111 miles an hour. So that was exciting. But we did get back out there, and we got the checkered flag. So I was just stoked to do that. That was my goal, was to finish the race, see the flag. But, you know, going into this weekend, I really, really want to finish on the lead lap to prove that, you know, we're competitive out there and we can finish these races and do well. So.
Yeah, well, and that being said, like, what, you know, this is, you know, I know you as a driver, you said you were looking for the challenge, you know, I mean, what have you know, are you, you know, what are you having to learn? I mean, this is like a step up. I mean, what are the goals season one? You know what I mean? I mean, you said, yeah, this race going in, we want to finish on the lead lap, show everybody we belong, you know, and we all know you have the talent to do that. It's like you had a fluke deal at the last one, but I mean, you know, going in, is this like a process? Obviously, you didn't come in first year and go, hey, we're going to sweep the series and win the whole title, you know, so it's like, you know, what's, you know, what's the goals this year and then kind of rolling into next year? Because I'm sure you and your husband, everybody's kind of learning a lot this year, right?
Yeah, man, we are almost in over our heads. I mean, it is literally just him and I. The first race, it was just us two. We're walking by these semis and, you know, these pits with 10, 12 guys working on cars, and it was literally just us. And we definitely learned we at least need 1 to 2 more sets of hands. And that's hard to come by when you're not paying people, you know. Yeah. But we're learning that. We're learning the car. I'm still learning how to drive the car. I have less than probably 3 or 4 hours in the car still. So I don't have a lot of budget, you know, and I don't do a lot of test days because it's just more wear and tear, more money. And so we're kind of just jumping into the deep end here, but I have no problem with it. I can only expect to be so good. And I know it's going to take some time to get on the podium. And I've had a lot of experience at Auto Club. I'm not saying I'm going to get on the podium, but I would love to. I think this is going to be my biggest shot at having the chance to be up there. But there's a lot of things in the TA2 cars, like what gear you select. So like you base that off of your mile per hour, and like we're learning all of that stuff. So I mean, you could seriously be 3 or 4 seconds off the pace because you don't have the right gear in the quick change. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy. But my goal this year is to finish the season, to be competitive, to be in the top 5, hopefully, for the West Coast Series, and you know, and just try to take away something from every race. And I think if you can learn something every race, then you're coming out on top. Because I mean, like with the FRS, we sometimes struggled and had some issues, but like if we didn't walk away with some kind of new information, then you're just wasting your money. And so we always try to look at the bright side. We always try to, you know, pick something up and understand something else, or get some tips or try something new. And that's kind of our goal this year, is to do that.
Yeah, well, and as far as, I haven't really looked at the Trans Am schedule compared to what you were doing previously, but, you know, any tracks, anything new, like you're really looking forward to, you know? I mean, obviously this is, like you said, the series got a little bit more exposure than, you know, the last one. I mean, what are you looking forward to this year? Let's put it that way.
Well, I'm looking forward to this weekend because I feel like knowing the track, like with a lot of laps, is going to help me kind of settle into the car. So Auto Club this weekend is going to be one of my highlights, and it's one of the closest ones to home, so it's only like 4 hours away, which is great. And then I would say kind of the most intimidating track, or the one that's going to be the grand finale in more ways than one, is going to be Circuit of the Americas, because I've only ever been there spectating. I've never raced on that track, and that is the final series race for both the National Tour and the West Tour. So it's going to be probably around 40 cars in the THG class, so a huge stacked field, and that's going to be the season ender for both series. So that one's kind of like the scary, intimidating, big-ass race, but it should be fun.
Not only that, but you're racing a Formula One track. How rad is that? Like, to me, like, there's just something about Circuit of the Americas is like, hey, I get to race on a Formula One track. Like, not many people can say that, you know? That's kind of rad.
Yeah, no, it's a phenomenal facility. I've been there a few times, but yeah, never actually hit the track. So it'll be cool, man. It's tough when you're at a brand new track, just because you don't know anything about it. You've never been on it, and if you do sim racing, I guess you could know a little bit something. But I don't have a sim, so I just kind of watch the YouTube and try to see what I can learn from that, and kind of just jump in foot first.
Yeah, I've had people go, how come you don't sim race? And I'm like, because sometimes the sim racing, the simulators cost almost the amount of a race car to actually get the sim to practice. I'm like, man, that's a lot of testing. Like, I love it. I've got a lot of friends over there at iRacing and stuff like that. I'm just like, I haven't quite been able to stomach the cost to get like a proper sim and do that, but like, shoot, there's people making money doing that now. There's like professional sim racing drivers making like crazy money. It's nuts how that industry's taken off.
Yeah, and they don't even have to fix their car. They just hit reset and they're all set.
I don't know. Maybe that's my next career. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. So before we let you go, though, I got to ask. I know you pinged me a while back, or I saw it, and I would think we were going back and forth. You got your own, like, signature remote control car, too. How rad is that? Like, that's every kid's dream. Like, I want my own remote control car. Here's Michele Abbate with her own, RC car. That's pretty rad.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I became an HPI athlete along, Ken Block and Von Gittin Jr. And so I'm one of very few people to have that happen. And it was, like I said, it was a very long process to get that actually, come to life. It took about 12 months. So it was like right when it came out, it was when I posted the car for sale. And I'm like, man, this is like kind of cool because it makes the car maybe worth a little bit more. But at the same time, like, I got my own RC car and now I'm going to sell the car. But we're going to try to work on getting that Camaro made. So I don't know. I know it's a long process. There's a lot of licensing you got to go through, but it's pretty crazy to walk into a hobby store and like see my face on the side of a box. It's like, it doesn't feel real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially like it's you and Von Gittin and Ken Block like lined up in the HPI section, right? Like that's got to make you feel like, hey, that's me. Like, yeah.
I'm just waiting for that big, that golden goose check. Where's it at?
Right. I don't know. When you find it, let me know because I'll buy the goose's brother or something or sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Deal. For sure.
We'll work on that together. But always fun catching up, Michele. Good luck this weekend at the event. I know I'll definitely be locked into social media, seeing how you do. But stoked you're finally able to realize the dream and go Trans Am racing, and we'll definitely be keeping tabs on you this year.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
And we'll be back with more after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
And that's all she wrote for this week here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Thanks to all of you for tuning in, keeping us in business for 382 plus episodes now. Make sure and don't forget the rest of this week. Tomorrow, the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, powered by Polaris RZR. That is dropping. My guest is Marty Fiocca, Off-Road Hall of Famer, also with Crandon and the Nora Mexican 1000, also a contributor to Racer Magazine. Definitely don't want to miss out. If you're an off-road fan, that's the podcast for you. And also I've got on Thursday dropping Project Action on Podcast One. My guest Brian Deegan, obviously he was on this week, but that show is about that interview is about twice as long as the one that you guys heard today. About 30 minutes with Brian Deegan. We're going to air it uncut on Project Action on Podcast One. Get both those podcasts and this show on iTunes. Check us out. Make sure and rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check us out on the web at downandddirtyshow.com. Big thanks to all of our partners here: Polaris RZR, General Tire, Four Wheel Parts, My Medic, Vision Wheel, Gibson Exhaust, Dirtfish, MotoShield Pro, Blue Water Resort and Casino, my friends at Go Parts. Make sure and use that coupon code Jim Beaver at My Medic for 15% off. JB Dirtfish, that'll get you 15% off at Dirtfish Rally School. And as always, you can follow me at Jim Beaver 15 on all forms of social media. Man, motorsports back cranking. Love to hear from you guys. Make sure and keep in contact with me on social media. You guys have a great week, and we will see you next time here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.